Well, I'm glad you could stick to the video till this bit. A joiner's clamp, or a G-clamp. One cracking joiner has been doing all the roof work, and although it looks like a single-decker bus, it's a double-decker bus. And the same joiner did that flooring along with another guy called Mike, and the joiner Jeff has done a thoroughly first-class job on that. And that's the first layer of the roof before the top half of the bus goes back on, because they've had to take out all the old wood from the 1930s and replace it with new wood that's had to be made to measure, as it were. And there's the bus in two halves. There's the top half, and the museum have made a lovely little audio-visual program that you can watch, which illustrates the history of 436. Well, it gives a full illustrated history of 436, and it's the double-deck bus from 1934, Crossley. And it's split into two halves. There's the upper deck, which is the roof, and there's all the window frames that have been primed in red lead, ready to be fitted. And there's the roof work. Now the roof itself has had to be paint stripped, so all the paint on the roof has come off. Again, that's another view of the excellent job of fitting the lower saloon floor. And you can see where the ribs are left and right for where the seating will be. And it's a thoroughly good job, as are the two wheel arch covers, and apparently they rescued the originals and they weren't rusted through. I think they've been galvanised originally. There's the wheel arch on the near side, and it's the same on the off side. And they're back to the window frames, and they've all got little winding handles so they can lower down the upper part of the window. And all the wood fillets on the framework has been fitted, ready for the panelling, and the panelling will be screwed into the wood fillets. So the bus is coming on very nicely. Now there's a shot of the roof. Well, that's the top of the roof, but the flooring, which is here, that's the upper deck floor, and it's been layered with bitumen felt. So that's bitumen felt, and then the boards will be laid on top of that to give it extra waterproofing, and that's the felt that they've used. Fantastic job. I've been amazed following it, just what details they've gone into. And that's the fittings for the upper deck, for the light fittings and the roof suspensions. Now on the bench there is the rear upper deck window frames, and they're made out of multiple pieces of wood shaped to the shape of the rear window. Incredible, absolutely rotted. But that's a view on the inside, looking up at the upper deck roof, and it's coming along nicely. Well, there's the Gardner engine that will be fitted, and it's all being prepped, and a couple of shots of the other recovery vehicles that they've got there, which they don't use, but it's in the historic part of the museum. And the gearbox And now all they've got to do is to marry those two together, and they've got a working engine and gearbox. The gearbox is at the back of that plate there. So a lot to do, and when you consider the trades that are involved in this, like Jeff the joiner and Mike, who's been painstakingly doing a lot of the work on the framework. And then of course at the next stage you'll have the electricians to come in, motor electricians to fit all the wiring and the cabling and the lights. The list is endless. Well, they've literally built a new bus, haven't they, for chassis upwards. Well, that's me finished. I'll leave you to look round the lower half, which is the lower hall, and there's some wonderful vehicles in here, all well worth a watch. Thanks for following it, thanks for seeing the video so far, and I hope you enjoyed the rest. Bye for now. Bye.